call, please.
Yes. First Lieutenant Lawson.
Here.
Vice President Dipplman.
Here.
Sergeant Navarre.
Present.
Parliamentary Seeley.
Here.
Senator Adebayo. Senator Adeshola.
Here.
Senator Allen.
Here.
Senator Balaji.
Here.
Senator Baker.
Here.
Senator Bell.
Present.
Senator Cantu. Senator Castellanos.
Here.
Senator Dockery.
Here.
Senator Dyson.
Here.
Senator Franklin.
Here.
Senator Guy. Senator Hart. Senator Hupp.
Here.
Senator Jawad. Senator Jobe.
Here.
Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Kosach.
Here.
Senator McDaniel. Here. Senator McLeod. Senator Morris.
Here.
Senator Mosley.
Here.
Senator Nafrati.
Here.
Senator Nagarajan. Here. Senator Novak.
Here.
Senator Fagundes.
Here.
Senator O'Kelly.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Rivera. Here. Senator Rogers.
Here.
Senator Ross.
Here.
Senator Saad.
Here.
Senator Severin.
Here.
Senator Shaka. Here. Senator Stockton. Senator Tan.
Here.
Senator Thomas.
Here.
Senator Zorby.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of approving last week's minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose? Any abstentions? Okay, last week's minutes have been approved. Do we have anyone here for open forum today? Okay. Today for speaker's podium, we have Mr. Bill O'Donnell and a representative from Sodexo to address concerns about the dining service here on campus.
Actually move this. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you this evening. I was asked to give kind of an update and report about dining services. So let me give you a little bit of background first. There's an old saying that timing is everything. And so to give you the background, the campus had a contract with Aramark, a 10-year contract. And by state law, after 10 years, you can't just renew it. You have to go back out for competitive bids and proposals. Unfortunately, at the time the contract was in line to be sent out for bid again, there's an interim vice president here at the time. I've been here for 9 months. I've been in higher education since 1989. And so it would have been my preference if they had just extended the contract 1 year and allowed me to come in and start this process. But instead, when I arrived in February, the process was already underway. Proposals were already coming in from various companies. And so I couldn't totally weigh in on the full part of the process and how it was conducted. But what it came down to was a feeling that the university wanted a change from Aramark. They felt that Aramark, especially in the area of catering, wasn't doing a good job. And there's certainly other areas that came up and had been discussed with the company, and just things weren't getting done, and there wasn't the expected response to concerns from the university. And so the message that I received loud and clear was that the university wanted a change. And so in evaluating the various companies, we felt that Sodexo offered us the best opportunity for change and success. But really, I can tell you what it really comes down to with all of these relationships is the people you're working with. Because the food costs are the same, you know, all those types of things, how they do business is pretty much the same. It really comes down to if you're going to work with a company and a team that you feel you can solve problems with, because, you know, nothing's perfect. There's always issues. There's always things where there can be an improvement. And so we tried to go with the company that we felt would best serve the campus and a team that we could work with the best. Unfortunately, the timing of this was all wrong. It was done, it started way too late. Ideally, the timing would have been for the contract to have been signed in May of last year to allow the company to come in May and do renovations and all the work they wanted to do to invest in the campus and in the dining facilities to be ready for the fall. Instead, the contract wasn't even signed until August. And so they've been playing catch up in a very difficult and way and trying to do the best they can. And so let me give you a few examples. First, the only renovation work we could get done was a renovation of the convenience store, okay? And to give you an idea, when I'm talking about the renovations, we'll be talking more here, is that Sodexo is investing $1 million in this first year toward the dining facilities. It's their money, not ours, not money you're investing. They're investing the money. And so we also have time to plan what this work would be. And so not only are they renovating our facilities, but also there's a lot of operational things that go into it. For example, we've known for some time that at the Subway location, it's slow to check out. In other words, you can get your food, but then you're standing there trying to pay. And it's because I think they have a dial-up modem and it's really slow. And that's leftover equipment from when Aramark was here. Okay, Sodexo has on order a new point of sale system, which will make that much faster and more efficient. Okay, so they're still in the process of implementing their equipment, their systems. They hired their general manager, Tammy Hill, who's been here all of maybe 3 weeks.
This is my third week.
Okay. The chef's been here a week and a half.
He came last weekend.
Okay. So they're still implementing their whole team, their systems, and everything, and trying to play catch up. And so I'll just tell you right now, I mean, I understand you have concerns. We do as well. And so what we're working to do is get all these things implemented. We're very interested in hearing your concerns to make sure it's everything we know about. But I want to make the commitment to you, and I believe Tammy's here to make the same commitment. We're here to improve operations. We know there's issues, we know there's problems, but we're going to be working very hard to get this turned around and make for a better situation. And so as we've gone forward in deciding to team up with Sodexo, there's a few key objectives we have. Okay. First, to give you an idea that in our discussions and part of the proposals we had from companies were what the dining rates would be or what they would propose they be. And so these companies compared with other universities that are our peers and said, gee, your rates could be higher and you'd still be on par with other universities. And then the companies all propose to pay a commission to the university because they're using our facilities and that type of thing. So the commission works out to be like a rent. Okay, but to give you an idea, one of our objectives was, and we explained to the company, we're not interested in the contract to make money. There's more value to us in students getting good rates, good quality, and also the more students that eat in our dining services and engage with each other and have that experience with each other, there's more value to that than you could ever pay us. And we told them that in virtually those words. There's more value in our students enjoying the dining services and seeing the value in it than anything they could pay us. So we want the money to go into the quality and to keeping the rates low. So we negotiated down the commissions so they would keep the meal plan rates the same as last year. Okay, so check off one box, we kept the meal rates the same, kept them lower than our peer institutions. Okay. Next step is to improve the quality of the food. And then another step is to try to provide more variety in food offerings. And so what these boards are about is there's a renovation project that couldn't get done this last summer. We had to wait a year, so they came to us with a very ambitious timeline to do these renovations over Christmas break. And so what they're going to do is, they call it a refresh, but it's basically a renovation of Chick-fil-A, and that's what these finishes are, is the Chick-fil-A has, these are the tiles and everything, the finishes in there. But the current Chick-fil-A, they said they didn't really like because it's set up to be a grab and go type of situation. You get your food, then you go to a cash register. So what they're going to do is take out the cash registers where they are. They're going to pull the counter out toward those cash registers. And it's going to be like any Chick-fil-A, you see in a commercial district, where you go in, you go to the counter, you order your food, you pay for it, and you get your food all right there at the one station. And by pulling it out, it gives them more room in the back for food preparation. And so it'll be more of a traditional Chick-fil-A, and all the equipment and all the finishes will be updated. And with these colors, we like the idea that it's going to look fresh, new, clean, and those are good things we want to convey to our students. That we have a clean venue for you and for the production of the food. And then also, Subway will be renovated. And then we're adding Einstein Brothers Bagels between Subway and the bookstore. And so we'll go in that location. And then you've already seen the Holy Habaneros, but there will be some renovations done there as well. And then in between Holy Habaneros and Subway, where the drink station is, will be a Slice of Life, which is just buying pizza by the slice. And so we're adding two new food venues, and then renovating the whole look and feel of the whole thing. And then again, with all new point of sale equipment and everything to go with it. And so it's an incredibly ambitious schedule to get this done over Christmas break. They've been ordering things already. I've been signing off on equipment orders. And so if everything gets here and the contractors come in, they believe the work can get done in time for January. I'm sweating bullets because one thing goes wrong or something doesn't come in, and that could mess up the whole time frame. But we're certainly working hard to get this done, so you've got all of this ready in January when you come back from Christmas break.
Bill, isn't it true they may see some construction taken since things start before they leave in December?
Yeah, right. To help with the timeline, we told them that space between the bookstore and Subway, that they could go ahead and block that off because the university has already approved us to have the space for dining services. So we said, if you want to put up a wall to screen it and start work now, you could. And so they may start there a little bit early, but not too much early. I think it's going to be around the first part of December that the wall may go up. And then we'll put a barrier up across everything else, just for the extent that if people are here over Christmas break, at least the employees, that the things are kind of shut off from them. Also, where the brews and blends will actually go away because the coffee will be at Einstein Brothers Bagels now. So we're going to take the wall behind brews and blends, where the counter is behind where they work. That wall was put in for brews and blends. So we're going to take that wall out, open it up, so it's a little more welcoming when you walk in the University Center. Plus then that'll give us an opportunity to return some seating area for students. So we'll put some more tables and chairs out there, that type of thing, and to return that space. And then part of what the architects that are redesigning the space looked at is the flow of traffic for customers coming in, getting their food and then trying to leave the space or go find a seat or whatever. And so one problem that came up is, where do we put the drinks? Because they're bringing in the new equipment, and I'm told it's like, I equate it with what you see at Burger King, where they got the big machine, and it's touch screen.
The freestyle. Yeah,
and they got all the drinks, and then you find your drink, and then it all dispenses out the same thing. So you're going to be two of those, and then they each have their own ice. But just to make sure we don't run out of ice, we're going to put a separate ice machine right between them. But with all these food venues packed in tightly, we don't want to get a traffic problem with students all then trying to go to one area to get a drink that's all right in this area. And so where the stairs are, there's a TV and a couch there up against that wall that's under the stairs. But in that wall under the stairs is a storage room. And that storage room is a perfect location to put the stuff that's feeding the soft drink machines. So that way there's already that room, so that's the most logical place to put the drink machines. So there will be a counter built in also alongside the machines where, you got to have a counter to get your lid, set your drink down, put the lid on, that type of thing. And then, so the TV and the sofa, I think, just move around the corner. So, and then they've already found the tile to match what's in the university center because they had to get the tile for the baseboard around the convenience store. But it's also important because we need the drains and the water line from where Brews and Blends is for the beverage machines. And so they're nearby, so they're going to have to actually trench in the floor a few tiles over to get to the drain and the water line. So after they've done that to connect the beverage machines with the drain and everything, then they'll have to redo that tile. But they've got that figured out too. So anyway, we're very anxious to see the changes get done so that everything looks fresh and new when you come back to January. And so those are the plans going forward. Can you answer any questions?
I have a question regarding pricing, specifically with Chick-fil-A.
Speak up a minute.
So I have a question regarding pricing, specifically with Chick-fil-A. I noticed over the past that prices have been significantly lower than they are now at Chick-fil-A. And you go to Chick-fil-A down the road and you pay $6 per meal. However, you go here, pay $8 per meal. I was kind of wondering why the prices are a little bit higher here at school as opposed to Chick-fil-A, down the street. Is that due to the commission being paid, or why is that?
I'm not really sure on the pricing.
I'm not sure either. We should be competitive with other Chick-fil-A's. The pricing was put in place by the people that opened the food service in August, but I'll sure find out. I know that in retail things, we're supposed to analyze it every year because every year, things go up a couple of % usually to cover food costs or something. But I will make sure that they put the right pricing in.
I forgot to mention, besides the Chick-fil-A renovation, there's also plans to do some work in the Patriot Zone over Christmas break. So wallpaper, the wallpaper is kind of neat when you look at it, but it's wearing and it's getting bad, where it's peeling up, where it's getting bad at corners and stuff. So wallpaper is all coming down, and I don't know the extent of the work fully, but I know there's some work planned for Christmas break, including in the back of the Patriot Zone where the billiard tables are. When you take your pool cue, the wall's being bumped. So we recognize that that's something just simple to do. And so to protect the wall and make sure there's no future damage, there's a product, I think it's called Acrovin, but it's kind of it's more than a plastic, but we can do that up about halfway up the wall. That way if it gets bumped, that's what it's made for. And we've used this product in a lot of classrooms as like a chair guard so that the wall doesn't get marked up type of thing, but it's a great product. And so that'll protect the wall, and that way, people can do what they need to do back there and they're not gonna hurt anything. So, and it'll always look nice that way too. So.
A question about the bagel shop. You said that the Blends and Brews will now be located there, essentially, and will that be another Starbucks, or will that just be the Einstein's?
It'll be whatever Einstein Brothers
Okay.
provides
So
for coffee.
Okay.
Part of the idea was to have, because there's still be Starbucks everywhere else on campus, but then there was, we had feedback that people wanted a different coffee option type of thing. And the reason it's moving is because they'll provide like breakfast sandwiches, they need the kitchen type area. So it's either prepare it and move it, or just have the whole thing over on the side. And so that was why it's moving. So.
I was just curious, right now everything is localized. What is y'all's reasoning for not distributing food restaurants around campus by localizing?
The Sodexo's original proposal was to have Dunkin' Donuts in the University Center and Einstein Brothers Bagels in the library to get food at another location, real food at another location on campus. The library location, unfortunately, is not large enough for either a Dunkin' Donuts or an Einstein Brothers Bagels. And so I sat with the director of the library talking about a drawing we'd received from Sodexo about basically cutting into the building, the library area, and capturing a little bit of space to get us the necessary space to put in a Dunkin' Donuts and Einstein Brothers there. The library is not in favor of giving up the space for a food venue. And so the only other option we really have is that in 2 years, when the STEM building is done, business will move over there. But for 1 year, arts and sciences faculty will also move so that we can renovate the building they're in. And Liberty Station's there. So we're already looking at, when we renovate the building, could we make Liberty Station larger such that it could be a Dunkin' Donuts or something? Okay. But we were concerned, that would be 3 years before it would open.
Right.
Or it could never happen. And so while, again, Dunkin' Donuts was supposed to go in the University Center, the feedback we got from students is if we weren't going to get one of these options, Einstein Brothers Bagels or Dunkin' Donuts, students wanted Einstein Brothers Bagels over Dunkin' Donuts. So then we made the change and said, okay, well, we're going to take Einstein Brothers Bagels now while we can get it, put it in the University Center, then we can always do a Dunkin' Donuts or something else at another location. So.
Is there something temporary you can put over there that maybe the kids in the library, students in the library can get coffee and maybe a snack or something? Like a temporary convenience store almost?
In the library?
Yes.
In that area.
Right.
Yeah, we're at the point now where I think we're trying to analyze what to do with the library location. Because one of the concerns is that there's always an interest in having more locations. I dealt with this in my last campus. The thing is you've got, business-wise, a set number of customers as a practical matter. So when you actually open more venues, all you're really doing from a business point of view is increasing your costs. You're not really necessarily attracting more customers or anything. And so again, it comes back to trying to run an overall campus dining operation in which we can try to keep costs low, prices low. And the only way they can do that is if they keep their costs low, which includes not just food, but also labor. And so it's, they'd like to do something with the library when it comes down to steps away, you have pharmacy. Okay? And the dean of pharmacy has been a very key advocate in advocating for the pharmacy's food vending.
Yeah,
And
that's
so as
just,
much as he's been just adamant that you got to have that, okay, then it's, steps away is the library. Now actually Sodexo loves the library, the idea of the library, because all of their experience at many, many universities they're at are the libraries are your best location. And part of what they like is because libraries tend to have extended hours. So if we do something in the old business building, well, the building kind of closes at 7 or so or whatever, then that's less opportunity to open for students. If the building closed, they have to close. But if the library's open until midnight or whatever, they can have something going. So they would still like to do something in the library, but it's all about space and getting it and that type of thing. So.
Is it possible to expand the hours on the pharmacy? Because right now, many places say like 4. Is it possible to expand it that way? Like there will be a coffee shop closer to the library.
Yeah, anything's possible, and that's where you all are so important because we don't know if you don't tell us. And what I can tell you, my last campus is we would try things. The students said we'd like to see hours here or hours there or whatever. We were always willing to try it. Sometimes it worked well and we kept it, and other times we tried and there just wasn't the demand. And then the hours would return to what they were. But again, we're willing to try anything, and if it works, great. That's win-win for everybody. So. I'm sorry, I keep missing you.
Oh, thank you. What's the real reason I started to have straws? 'Cause I do personally, I don't know if it like washes the cup, but I just find it like gross. I don't touch the cups like other people. I just don't know how to get rid of straws.
You know, and I'm on the other side of this. I don't know why you need a straw.
Yeah.
I grew up and I never had a straw.
Well, it's
So
like it's a big pool. Well, to me it is, and it's just like I don't know who's back there washing these cups, and so it's like to me it's like I don't know what about. So
well, it's all machines. I mean,
Yeah,
it's going through.
Through a very hot temperature machine. Sustainability is one thing, leaving a carbon footprint, all the waste. I would love for y'all to come be in the dish room one day and see the stuff we throw away. It just blows my mind. We just don't think about it when we fill up our plates and then we get full. Another reason is the straws are the people that make the dish machines ask that we not use them because they tear it up. And it's the university's property, so when it tears up, then we have to wait and have to get it fixed. Has it broke down while y'all have been here at school at all?
Yeah.
Because I've had it happen at the university has that before, and it's a week sometimes to get it fixed, and so that creates problems. So it's a monetary issue, partly because of having to fix things, and part of it is just more waste that we felt like we could avoid. It's pretty much across the United States, Sodexo.
And I can tell you, Sodexo and even the other companies,
the other big
the
ones.
competitors to Sodexo, they're all talking their proposals about, and they're much more conscious about sustainability and that type of thing, and trying to eliminate waste. And so the idea is that the other venues are for take and go. So you get lids for your cups and straws, and it's all meant to take with you if you want. But their view of the Met is to be more of an in-person, stay there dining experience, more like a restaurant. And so we got questions about, well, can I get my food in the Met to go? Well, all the other venues are designed to go. So again, the Met is meant to be more of an in-person restaurant, stay there dining experience type of thing. So,
I've actually got two questions. So the first, you said that, the Chick-fil-A here wants to stay competitive, as with the other Chick-fil-A's down the street. I think when you guys said that, that's, I guess, one of your goals or to want to stay competitive. The prices are higher. If you want to stay competitive and you're going to make it to a more traditional Chick-fil-A, is that right?
Right.
Are you also going to offer what the traditional Chick-fil-A's offer, like breakfast and fruit and oatmeal and like the different varieties of food? I mean, I know that is a huge thing that a lot of the students have wanted and have not gotten. So if you want to stay competitive, is that not something you would add in?
I'm not sure what the plan is to add in. I'm in my third week.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, at Tarleton, where I was at one time, we had the breakfast. We had the little mini biscuits and the chicken, all that stuff. We had salads. We had stuff like that. So I would assume that that's going to happen, but I need to find out. I'm not positive. When is your next meeting? So the things that I'm going to find out for y'all.
Well, we meet every Wednesday, so next
Every Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So as long as I can get that to you before Wednesday. Because I don't want to say that I'll find out or I'll tell you and then not get that done. Leave that hanging.
And then, sorry. My second question is, you said that the Met is like you want it to be an experience for students to enjoy and different things, but you also just said that the Met is designed as a restaurant thing, not necessarily as a stopping. You don't want to take it to go. That's what the other services are there for. But what if the students are wanting, like the value, like what if that's their desire? I remember when I was on campus, I had, 10 minutes or whatever, and I have to go, or it's about to close, and I want to use my note pen, or different things like that. If that's what the students are demanding, is that not something you want to provide?
It's a trade-off. But like, for example, what I witnessed last spring was students getting their food to go, just to go back to the dorm. They didn't know if they had to get to class or anything else. And I can tell you from my own college days, it was a break from studying and classes and whatever to get together with my friends. We would all arrange our schedules to be there at the same time every day. And that was part of the fun part of the day was meeting for dinner, type of thing. And so, we're just, I guess, trying to understand what the purpose is with the desire for, food to go type of thing.
I mean, personally, I know I'm not one that used it, but I know other students, I think people that are in the Senate have asked about that. And so if you're wanting to create value for the students and provide or go to what they're wanting, is that something like straws or
But there again, it's
like that.
right now, you get like a glass plate that goes through the
It is machine.
machine and everything, but and it's reused. But for go, you have to buy a bunch of what are the styrofoam type things, and of course styrofoam is bad for the environment and everything. But again, it adds to their costs. And part of the value, part of the reason that the meal plans have always been, now these companies allow the dining dollars and everything to use at other venues. But in the old days, it used to be you had like something like the vet, and that's all there was. But the idea is they can be more efficient and give you better pricing because they cook the food and then put it all out. You get your own salad, and you kind of help yourself in some respects. Whereas a Subway, where they actually stand there and make your sandwich individually, is very labor intensive. The Met isn't labor intensive. And so they can deliver a better meal to you in the Met because there's less labor involved. It's all just prepped in big, containers or whatever type of thing. I'm oversimplifying, I guess. But again, they can do a better job in the Met than we can do in the other areas because, like I say, you get your salad on your own, that type of thing. And various things are being reused. Whereas Subway, they prep it for you. They're giving you a bag. They're giving you napkins. They're giving you all this other stuff. A cup that gets thrown away, a lid, a straw, all that gets thrown away, and that's all overhead. So the real value is in the net, but to keep that value there, if we start making it all to go and that type of thing, then we're just adding the costs. And so it's a trade-off is what it comes down to. So it depends on what are the priorities. If people want it to go, sure, we make it to go, but where are the priorities? Because there are trade-offs. Is the priority value or is it convenience? And we're trying to do both with the other venues being the convenience of getting it to go. And then we only have one location where it isn't structured necessarily to be to go. But I'm sure, if there's certain circumstances or, your roommate's sick and you want to take him dinner or something, yeah, I'm sure things can be worked out. But again, it's just, I'm not sure it's efficient to do that for lots and lots of students. And again, what universities everywhere try to do is they want the students to come in and engage with each other. And so much what happens now is students aren't necessarily engaging with each other as much as I think they would even like. So, does that answer your question, or
It's not maybe for me, it's for others, but yet Sodexo doesn't allow us to go sit with our friends at Fortnite. So I don't understand, we can join each other as a friends aspect, because it's like,
well, I
I
think
know the meal plan, they tell me I'm not allowed past this test, so I just don't.
because you're not eating in the Met, you got your food like at Subway. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if I just didn't want to eat it all, that's not what I wanted today, or I already ate something. They don't allow me, my friends eat, and we just kind of enjoy the company.
See, I'm not sure that was allowed with Aramark either.
It was. They said it was a little different, but you want me to tell you why? That we don't allow people to come in unless they swipe or pay or whatever? Probably the people that still pay. Yeah, at other universities, the sweetest, most kindest, innocent-looking person would come up and promise me, I'm not eating, I'm just going to sit with him. And time again, it's not my rule. It makes it sound like I made this rule, but time and time again, people in my role have seen people come in that you give them the benefit of the doubt, and then they go and they eat. And one person did it occasionally, wouldn't break the bank, and I'm sure none of the people in here would be doing that, but it just keeps happening. And so that's why I think they had to put the rule in place.
It's kind of like you don't get your food at Burger King and then go meet your friends at Olive Garden and take a Burger King. You know what I mean? So.
I had a couple questions. We talked earlier about not wanting to like add new locations on campus just because you're not really increasing business, but the same students are going to be at different places. I know myself, I'm sure a lot of people in here work out at the gym, and there's an area of the gym where they use for like vending and like food service for like basketball games and stuff like that. I know all the athletes work out at the gym, early morning workouts throughout the day. Now, would you guys possibly consider adding some like smoothie place like at the gym? Because I know I would only assume that would boom in business after someone's not working out. Whether you want to use your $9 or your meal plan or even mobile credit cash. Would that be something that you guys are open to?
We'll consider anything if it's viable. And I think there needs to be some work done. Excuse me. It's our location. It's not. Excuse me.
And my other question was, a lot of people are in labs on certain days of the week that go anywhere from like 1 to 7, 1 to 9, in fact. And a lot of the people live on campus, that don't really drive to school. They're limited to a time restriction on when they can get their food by. I know Subway closes at 5 o'clock. And I mean, I know a lot of people make that, and they say, they close, so I'm gonna go get my food. But I feel like sometimes it's really impractical for someone to not be able to walk out of their apartment at 8:30 at night because they don't have a car, and maybe they want to go get some food. So I also think that you would increase business by increasing the time that you guys are open by even just a couple of hours.
Say Subway closes at 5.
No, it closes at 6, but I will say Holy Habanero is open till 6, and I need to check the numbers. I don't think we're getting any customers there. So what we need to do is evaluate. I mean, I can guarantee y'all, if we can have enough customers to justify being, my people standing there, I'm going to stay open all night long. If I have customers that can pay my people's salary for standing there, and the product, I want more business. I'm never going to turn down business.
Well, I would hope we could be open till these 7, but I know Sodexo's talked about,
the Mets are
something was mentioned in a meeting I was in a while back about having a late night option, and they're trying to figure out if they could do it in the Patriot Zone or where would be the logical place.
Because I just know a lot of students like bigger universities use like nighttime, like when they study, a lot of people are up late at night, and I think it'd be really convenient for them to meet up at like somewhere in the UC and say, we can get food, we can get room there.
Yeah, and I do know they're interested in that. They're just trying to figure out, do they do it at the Chick-fil-A because the Patriot Zone being open, or do they do one of the other venues or what? But they are interested in doing a late night. Again, they need the feedback from the students to understand what, where, and how, and what are you looking for, and what times are you looking for it. So they would actually benefit from knowing that, because they do believe there is interest by the students in that. They just need a little more information.
Are you aware that survey, the Sodexo survey, are you aware of this?
Yes,
Are you aware of the
officers advising you that, yes.
All right, so if 90% of the students want straws, and 90% of the students want to-go boxes, and 96% of the students want to sit with their friends, outside the cost, why is your excuse for not wanting to do what the students want to do?
I didn't know it was 90%.
I have it right here. I haven't looked at the numbers. I've looked at the comments. It's a sustainability issue. It's a Sodexo policy. I've been at other universities where they got straws and to-go boxes and they could come and go. And then I was the first manager in when the change was made. And people were pretty angry for about a year. And then they started either understanding it or they got used to it. I know change is always hard. I don't know what y'all were allowed to do before. We're not trying to, our goal is to serve people, to take care of people, not to make people mad, that's for sure. There's just certain rules that we have in place because of the things that we talked about in the straws. It's detrimental to the university because of the machinery. So I don't understand what I said that was funny, I'm sorry. I read the survey comments, and I agree with a whole lot of these comments. I've walked around the 2.5 weeks I've been here, and I've observed horrible customer service. I've observed food that wasn't very good, that wasn't the way I want it. I've been making changes every day since I got here. I don't really have much wiggle room on the three things you mentioned, but I can change a bunch of things on the quality of food, our employees that are dealing with, with y'all, all those kind of things I can fix. And that's what I started working on the first day I got here. It's not something I'm proud of the way it is now. And this is something very personal to me. I moved to Tyler for this role, so I'm going to do everything I can every day to start, getting this in better shape. Yes.
Say, go ahead.
I completely understand what you're saying, and thank you so much for both of y'all for being here. The Met is basically the only option for students who opt for vegan vegetarian lifestyle, and not having to go boxes for that set of students is kind of a disservice to them. But not saying that that's like the main reason something like that should be implemented, other than students wanting it. But is there a plan of any kind to implement vegan and vegetarian options in the services that y'all provide that are like grab and go options?
Yes, the grid, right? The C-store is open until 8 every night during the week. There should be some options in there now, but I need to, I haven't looked with that in my mind, so I need to check that. That's a very easy fix. That can be fixed tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Actually, that's a good point. We need to make sure we've got that. So,
Thank you.
Preston?
Also, my thought process here is it's not so much just to pound on the to-go box issue, but for me, I'm very, very busy from 8 to 5. So I kind of stay moving around, and I don't like to go and normally sit down in the Met. Would there be a way to change the meal plans a little bit to where that there's an option that doesn't have the mandatory meals per week, so that all of your money goes towards food that can be taken to go? Because I feel like I have $200 for to-go meals, and then I essentially waste 4 meals a week that I'm paying for.
So you'd like more dining dollars than meal plan, straight meal plan, right?
At least an alternative for people who are going to be, going from the labs and don't have time to sit down. And for people who are trying to make that to-go issue, I say, like, if it is their policy that to-go boxes aren't, allowed, then we have something that allows people to still have more to-go options instead of having those mandatory meals in the Met. Is that
yeah, we can absolutely look at that, because we just stayed with the meal plans as they were, both in structure and in price.
Mm-hmm.
And partly because the time frame, just keep that structure. And then, of course, I already talked about just trying to keep the price the same. But now we need to meet with Sodexo to talk about, okay, what are we going to do next year? Are we going to change the meal plans, and if so, how, and whatever. But, yeah, if you're interested in more flexible dollars or dining dollars, then, yeah, we can certainly look at that. So.
Kind of an add-on, I have 2 points to add what Parliamentary Sealy said. I am a vegetarian, and I think there are maybe like 3 options I can get from those, because I don't have a Met plan. So from like Subway and Holy Habanero, there's probably 2 to 3 things I can get from them. So I would hope that you guys are looking into that. And then my second one would be, with the constructions, let's say it was delayed, how would that affect us coming in the spring semester?
That's a good question. I mean, it would depend on what could happen. We certainly expect, and the plan they've given us shows they would be done a week early. So that would be a week cushion. But if for some reason something didn't come or whatever, then, some venue probably wouldn't even be started then. If they didn't have all the equipment or everything in place to get it done, then, they wouldn't just start and get it half done, so.
Would it affect any of the venues that we already have open right now, like Subway or Holy Habanero or Chick-fil-A?
Well, like, for example, if we didn't get the equipment to do Chick-fil-A, that could be delayed, but that's one of our top priorities, to get the Chick-fil-A work done. And then the other, because it's all consecutive, I mean, it's, we believe everything's on order. We feel pretty good that this will all get done and there won't be any problems. Again, part of my job is to worry, so.
So, just jumping back to the to-go boxes, saying that pretty much your main point about them is that you have to throw away each one, and that's pretty much wasting money for every single to-go box instead of a plate that you can just wash every time. My brother goes to A&M Galveston, and freshman year they encourage them to buy a to-go box where they can just take it to their cafeteria, fill that up with whatever they want, and then just take it back to their room. It's reusable, you buy it once, and you wash it and take it back.
Oh, but they buy the
Yes,
Yeah, it's
the
a-
student buys
it's
it,
a-
and they use it however many times they want to per year, and it just, it's just, you pay the fee to get into the cafeteria just like you would with your meal plan.
So are students, willing to do that?
I would, as long, if I can use the to-go box, I'd be willing to pay that one-time fee.
Okay.
It's a good option to look into, especially if so many students now.
But it's reusable, you
Yes,
say?
it's reusable. He's had his since freshman year. He's a senior.
That's actually a really good idea. And that seems to me that would be viable.
It's an eco green friendly container, yes. My daughter's in college, she's a sophomore down at St. Edward's, and they have that at their school as well.
Can we try to find a product we can order?
I have the products, we need to talk to Sodexo though.
Okay, that's a really good idea. I appreciate that. That could solve the problem and get people what they're looking for.
Oh, why is the prices at the C-store so high?
What?
Yeah.
The C-store prices.
As compared to just,
I mean, as compared to anywhere else. I went in there to buy a toothbrush and it was like $230, $240 for a single toothbrush.
Did you go to Walgreens and see what their price is? Because the people that put the pricing in, we're supposed to go to everything that's local, to see what competitors'
I
prices were.
saw a single toothbrush at Walmart for 97
Yeah, you can't compare Walmart pricing. You have to compare convenience, like Walgreens or a convenience store right in
I
town.
haven't been to Walmart.
And I'm not saying you should, I'm sorry. I just, I can check that pricing as well, but I know what they were supposed to do. I don't know what they did, so I can sure check.
yeah, the comparison is the key, because like at a convenience store, you're not going to get the same pricing you get at Walmart. So, same thing. But yeah, if we can double check to where we are with the pricing, that'd be great. So,
I just wanted to let you guys know that the pharmacy buildings will need more varieties of different things because we kind of have a limited things we can get. Especially now that we can't get to-go boxes because usually we have like an hour break, we get the to-go boxes, come back to stock. So now that we said we can't have it, we need more variety in the pharmacy.
So I met with Dr. Bruner on Monday, and we discussed different things that we can bring in. So we're working on getting that accomplished.
and you can be assured he's been a great advocate for that location, and so he's made us aware of what your needs are there. And so we've had quite a lot of communication with him, and again, that's helpful. If we know what you're looking for, we can try to, get it there for you. So
There's a survey that he's going to be sending out to people that use the pharmacy building, I guess. We were even talking about sushi, stuff like, to-go sushi, that kind of thing. Just more options. Put some candy out there, some chips, some gum, just some basic things that we can do to make it more enjoyable. So.
My final question would be in regards to the coffee shop that used to be in the library that is now shut down. I know you guys said, a few steps away is pharmacy building. I was actually kicked out of the pharmacy because I'm not a pharmacy student. And I understand that's their space, that's awesome. But
No,
we as business students are not allowed in the pharmacy.
At a certain time, I think people aren't allowed that aren't.
So it's totally fine, but now that the library's open later, 2 a.m., there's that huge gap, an even larger gap where we're not even allowed to go a few steps away, or where Subway closes, or wherever.
for real, you got kicked out of the building?
Yes.
I know, that's very true. You mentioned that Monday. Liberty is open though till 8, right? Am I making that up? No, that makes, okay.
Let me ask about that. I'd love to go with you and see if we can both get kicked out.
In regards to that, coffee shop actually closes at 4, so even though you're not allowed in the building,
At
that
pharmacy,
open
yeah.
anyhow.
Yeah, and y'all understand if there's a person standing there and no one comes through, you can do that for an hour. You can do that maybe for 2, but if you do it for lots of hours, then it's hard to keep that open. we want business. I mean, there's nowhere we're not gonna go if they'll let us. If we can have people come, buy something. I guarantee we want the
I
business.
can tell you too, the dean of pharmacy is subsidizing that location
Yeah.
because it's not very viable.
Yeah.
And that's part of the library consideration, is hoping that, again, if they can't go in there, then you don't do any good. So I'm really curious about that. But, yeah,
Sorry, my next thing would be like a suggestion. Right outside Harvey Deck, there's this empty, I think like 4 years ago, it used to be some kind of snack shop and it's not being used. Is that some kind of possibility to have to-go snacks or something there? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah. Every company looked at that.
Okay.
And, the problem is there isn't really anything in there. I mean, there's a little bit of space, but there's not any equipment or whatever. And I'm told, again, this is all for my time, but there's a long history of the campus trying things there and nothing's ever worked, is what I've been told. And so Bob Hepler has asked to use that space in storage for like canoes and things like that. And so that would, I guess, help address a challenge he has and a need he has. And so, the indication has been that, other than maybe some special events where we could work out of there, maybe for some special outdoor student event where we could, prepare food inside, bring it out there and serve it or something. For a few events a year, we just can't see that as being a viable, regular type thing. So.
I just had a quick question. Whatever you plan to open in the library space, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts or just a regular coffee place, is there a way to extend the hours? Maybe not to the extent of, because our library hours currently have been extended to 2 a.m. on certain nights. And that's a little crazy to have a coffee shop open until 2 a.m. But for the most part, sometimes it closed at like 5 or 7 in the past. And so it's a really large gap for people. If they want to stay at the library, whether they should be studying that long period of time, they are. So it's nice to have something, some coffee or a snack, maybe even if it's just coffee, open a little bit later. That's a lot of
Well, you're right, and that's the key with the library is extended hours. And so what I'm wondering is, rather it being an either or proposition, that we, alternate hours. Maybe pharmacy closes and the library opens up or something. I don't think it has to be that the library is open all the time, or it isn't. And, maybe we just have the library not open when some other things are open, and then they do open, where the staff goes from one location over to the other location and opens that up for the late hours type of thing. So
We opened the coffee shop that I was at the university before, along with the library hours. So when they were open late for finals week, we were right there with them.
It's a good idea.
Because everybody needs caffeine when they're studying. So that's what we used to do.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Like I said before, can we just put coffee maybe with the snacks? Because I know the biggest thing that the students want is coffee. And the only time that I'm able to study is when it's night, it's late at night, and there's nothing open except I think scooters close to that. I know there to so there's a gap.
Right, I think that's where she's right, is that the library could be the logical location, has extended hours, and it would be when everything else is closed down, so then I think that would be the time to open that up. Again, we've been trying to figure out what to do with the library location. I think you guys have got the right idea. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you very much. So,
Next we have Preston and Savannah. I believe you guys are going to present during new business. Correct? Wait, are we going now or do
We can go
new
now or
business?
new
Yeah, let's just. Do you want to do it now? Yeah, let's just get it done. We're gonna be quick. Go for it. Go for it. You got it?
I'll start. Yeah.
Well, you're first on the PowerPoint, so.
Never mind, it's a little longer.
All right, so this weekend, Savannah and I went to the ASGA conference in Dallas, Texas. And the ASGA is the American Student Government Association. So this is the national organization that our SGA is a member of. We actually do pay a small fee to be a member of this organization. And what we get out of that is the conferences that provide training to the officers and consulting. So we get a lot of statistics and information from this this organization to help us with all of our results for stuff for any type of projects that we're doing. It's very, very, very helpful for a lot of the things, just to be able to make a phone call down to the guy who runs it all and just get whatever information that I need for stuff that I'm looking into. For instance, when y'all guys do senator projects, if somebody has done something similar in the past at a different school, they have the logistical information on that project already in place. So we just transfer it over to our account. We have it. So this is something that's very, very helpful for us. The 4 things that I went to while there were the gift and the curse, talented and overextended. This was basically just how do you manage your time as an executive board member. It was very, very helpful to like look at different things to see how to balance all the stuff that I have in my schedule. And that was more just like a personal thing that helps me out so that I can be there and available for y'all. Knowing when and how to call someone out. That was basically a workshop on like when people are out of line parliamentary wise, like how to address it in like the right way so that you don't come off as just kind of like rude, but you're still keeping control of the meeting and keeping everything flowing the way that it needs to be. How to market yourself. That was actually really cool. The guy that presented on that was the SGA president at USC when he was in college, and to see all the different things that he did to like market their SGA and have everything go through at a campus of that magnitude was crazy. Granted, they had a little bit more of a budget than we do, but that was pretty cool. And then what can your student government really do? The guy who started the organization actually gave that workshop, and it was really interesting to see like what SGAs have power over and what they don't, in comparison to what we had power over to what other schools at that conference had. I'd say we were actually pretty far ahead of some. There was only really about one SGA that really had, I'd say, like more technical authority than we do on our campus. So we actually get a lot more done than what I thought in comparison to other schools, which was really relieving to me to see that we were not far behind, if not leading the pack. So thanks.
Hey y'all, I'll try not to take up too much time. So the first workshop that I went to was, we good? Okay, cool. Was the top 25 worst mistakes that your student government can make, and I'm really proud of us. Oh, it's up there. Okay, thanks. I'm really proud of us because honestly, on this list of 25, we really don't make a lot of these mistakes. We haven't in the last year and a half I've been around. Just a couple of them that I wanted to point out. The top 3, I feel like every student government deals with. Poor publicity, taking on too many projects, and poor communication. And I think that's something every student government can work on. And those are probably the main things that we deal with as a student government. So I'm really, really proud of us in that aspect. The second is how to proactively market your student government. That was all about giving your student government a really good image on your campus. And we do a lot of these things that Sam Gordon from USC spoke to us about. And then I'm interested in looking into administratively and cost-wise how we can implement some of these other really great ideas that were brought to us. But again, super proud of how much that we already do that other student governments were learning about for the first time. Third, how to make students care about your student government. This was all about signature programming, a service or an event that you give your campus that no one else does. I would say our signature event is Midnight Breakfast. It's a free event. It's something cool. We do it during busy weeks on campus. It's that one late night fun thing that we do. We can give students that no one else does. So we're ahead of the game there too. And then third, turning apathy into activism. This was a lot about what does your student government do that inspires students to not only be a part of your student government, but to come to you when there's issues on campus. And I'm really sorry. And so they gave us an acronym. It was called CARE, which is careness, awareness, reality, and engage. So we can always show students that we care. We can always raise awareness for SGA and what we can do for them. We can always remember the reality of our power as a student government, what we can actually get done, and just do our best to engage students, get students to show up to our events, really go out and talk to your constituents about things. And I really believe that we do those things. And I learned a lot about other student governments and about how we're a really strong student government. And I'm really excited to move forward. I think that's the end of it, Dev.
Thank you. All right, officer reports. I know it's already 6:15, so I won't take up too much of your time. Just a few quick things. So Treasurer Navarre and I, we went to UT SAC. We went to Austin this weekend. For all the new senators who aren't aware of what UT SAC is, it is a UT System Advisory Council. 2 representatives, SGA representatives from each UT school come together, and we try to find the similar underlying issues that are, throughout all the schools. We make recommendations to the Board of Regents. So this week this weekend, we, went through the problems, and so it went really good, I'd say. So we meet next in February. So hopefully we have recommendations finalized and can present to the Board of Regents. And then the last thing I have to say is that I say this every week, please make full use of the money set aside for Senator projects. We have Senator Baker doing something. So again, please remember that we have funds aside. So any issues or concerns you guys have that you want to make a change in with the school, step forward and one of us can help you. Other than that, does anyone else have any questions for me? No? Vice President Templeman?
Obviously, we already told you all about us going to ASGA this weekend. I want to thank Bert for taking care of the preview day table on Saturday, stepping up for me and helping out with that. I also want to take a second to address 2 areas. After SGA, y'all guys are free to go and do whatever y'all want to, but there will be a service for one of my classmates' little sisters. She was the girl that got kidnapped and murdered in Bullard. And so I'm really proud of Chris for getting together with a lot of people and making this an event for the campus. It was really kind of hard to see somebody that and see twice a week lose one of their family members. I could only imagine what that would be like if I had that happen to my little sister. So I'd really like to see a good turnout from SGA at that event if y'all are available at that time. Also, it's a Veterans Week, so I'm sure you'll see Sean all over campus running around. So I just want to say thank you for your service, Sean, for everything for this week. And so that's all I have. Oh, sorry, I have one other thing. Totally forgot. Ironically enough, it happens to be this person's birthday, and she will be receiving Senator of the Month. So happy birthday, and come up here and receive your award. We all felt Melissa was very active over the past month, covering a lot of issues, talking all the topics, and so it was just kind of fitting that she got that award. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Vice President Templeman? Okay, Secretary Martin?
All I have, I just wanted to mention, I get a lot of absence forms and different emails throughout the day or throughout the week. So if you email me with your absence form and I don't reply right away, whether or not it was approved or not. First, we meet on Fridays, our EB meeting. We meet on Fridays and we go through absence forms. So if you email me on Tuesday and I don't reply right away, we haven't gone over it. So I can't reply right away. But even after, on Fridays, sometimes I don't always reply if it's approved. But you will get an email if it's not approved. So just to make that clear, in case I don't email you right away. I don't want y'all freaking out thinking I didn't get it. But I'll try to be a little more about just that I received it, so you're not worried about that. But that's all I have.
Any questions for Secretary Martin? Treasurer Barr?
So I'll quickly go over what we spent in this last week for our budget. We spent under our SGA line, we spent $15.38 for CC's Pizza for the Accounting Society and $481 for Sodexo for the Social Science Club. And then our last expense was under our travel line. We spent, it was for President Savannah and Josh's ASGA expenses. $361.53 for their hotel, $16 for parking, $110 for their rental car, $24 for dinner one, $68.73 for dinner two, and $18.10 for gas. Other than that, SGAC we won't be accepting any more requests after next Friday, since that'll be the time 2 weeks before finals week. So if we do not receive any more requests by next Friday, we won't be having any SGAC meetings.
Okay, any questions for Treasurer Navarre? Parliamentarian Sealy?
ASGA, super success. Sorry I was not here last week. Sorry I was not very productive. I was very sick, and I'm really excited about what is going on in Rules Committee this week. So let's get a move on.
Any questions for Parliamentarian Sealy? All right, student voice reports. College of Pharmacy.
Didn't get a ton of feedback. The two things that were mentioned were just food on that side of campus, and it sounds like they're handling it more with the different options. And then two, our College of Pharmacy is strictly, like our books and everything are strictly through the library databases. And so a lot of us, myself included, very visual learners, and so we print off the stuff that we have to read. And normally it's about a chapter a night. So obviously we're going through our printing, the allotted amount for printing very rapidly. And so we were curious if perhaps we could get a bump, since we're paying more tuition. Our database is strictly online, if that would be something that could be considered an increase in our printing.
Okay. Joshua, is this something you could talk to our dean about, maybe?
There's two folks that come to mind. I think we talked to the head librarian and to see if they oversee the print credits. And then if not, Chris Marquez, who oversees the business office. She, I think, will definitely know the right direction on who oversees that account and what would be the best approach on either increasing that limit or how that is fully funded. Because it may not come strictly from tuition, it may come from fees. And I know based on last question, so that it depends on where that revenue is. You're right, tuition. It's a good argument.
Thank you. Any other issues? No? Student body at large? Yes, Senator Ross?
I met with some people that's also doing, and they gave me 3 issues and concerns to add. One, people would like to see an increase in school spirit / campus life, or really a campus presence. There may be a creation of a spirit group for the different university teams, and just different increase of activities and programs that foster campus presence. The second thing was the possibility of perhaps looking into the creation of a club sports program as an alternative to intramural sports. Since we don't have very many variety of university teams, that'd be a good project for people who are trying to continue their sports activities after high school. And lastly, I know we touched on this last week, but people still having issues with Wi-Fi, and the reason I brought it up is it's specifically pertaining to the library and the connectivity and speed of the Wi-Fi in the library, a place where the Wi-Fi should be very strong.
Thank you. Hopefully the librarian from last week can figure that out. If not, we'll figure something out. Also, do you know for the club sports, do other colleges have that?
Yeah. So it's kind of a program where it's not a university sport. However, the student can pay however much money it takes to play that club sport and actually have a little bit more competitive atmosphere for teams.
Okay. Thank you.
Have you spoken to the athletic director, Paul? Sorry.
No, I really
Sorry. Joshua, do you know his name?
Dr. Patterson.
Oh, it's Dr. Patterson. Okay, I wanted to say that, but I felt like that was wrong for some reason. Yeah, Dr.
Question for that, club sports, Rick McKeel. I think that's something that would fall under that area. If the university was to establish a robust club sport program, I could see it fall under recreational sports. So Rick McKeel would be the contact person and figure out what the logistics are in order to get something like that going. We would need to hear that from him to see if that is something that SGA wants to tackle.
Thank you. Any other issues, student body at large? No? Sorry, Senator Bear.
This is in response to that. Rick McGill is actually my boss, so to answer your question, we actually do have like club program. You have to have certain amount of people, and you talk with McGill, sets a meeting, and that's funded to them. So we currently have ultimate frisbee, a basket club, and there's 2 other ones. So we do not start it. We as the gym. You have to be the one to initiate it. It's not done for SGA. It's done for yourself, your teammates, or your whatever you want to call it, and that's how it's done. And you can get jerseys, and all that kind of stuff. So that answers your question. And yes,
To add on that, that's the setup that we do currently have. So they go through the student organization process, and then we transfer them over to Rick. Rick then oversees it. But I think for what he's asking for, it's more of a structure like other. But right now, based on what we have, that's the current one. So it is still possible to do club sport, but I think what you're wanting is more of a intercollegiate competitive. Well, it's not NCAA, but it's still competing.
Yeah, that's your goal.
So that's where we need to figure out, Rick, how do we get more involved with TGC, Texas College, schools in Longview.
Senator McDaniel?
Senator, are they in like, is it like the way that their season is? So like all those in the fall?
No.
Is it just
It's
anytime?
just whenever they have to have a teams to play against.
Next we have Longview campus. Are they on Zoom?
And Senator Noakes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Senator Morris is going to present and then I'll get up here.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so one of the big concerns that we have is that some of the students were upset that the fact that we have to pay the full price for a parking pass, just like the students on the main Tyler campus. And another concerning issue, along with the parking pass, is the parking itself. The way that the parking lot is set up, we have to share it with a daycare. And it's different each day, but the majority of the parking lot is always being used by the daycare facility. And so maybe in the future, they would like to see an additional parking lot built nearby.
Okay. Vice President Templeton?
Is that daycare, is that the Innovation Academy? Is that what it's labeled as? Because I believe, I'm not sure, but we have one that's in Tyler. I thought that they helped out in Longview as well. Because I think the reason they grant them parking is because that building is also run through a program of the university. I could be totally wrong. I've only been to the Longview campus about 5 times. So.
Well, I'm not sure if it's ran by the company, but I know every time I go, it's always a hard time trying to find parking because the daycare will usually have their kids around the daycare or like around the parking lot itself. And it's kind of hard for students to come and go. And when they have to rush to class to try and find a parking, you know.
Thank you. Joshua, do you know who we could contact for Longview?
Dr. Van Patterson.
Dr. Van.
And then also Michael Gannell.
Okay.
Those are the 2 contact people.
Thank you.
I spoke to them about it, Dr. Patterson, and I think they had already tried to get something done about it with the UT Tyler administration.
Okay. Were there any other concerns?
Yes. Our IT, Industrial Technology program, is relatively new. We had 8 students last year, but it grew to 30 students. And there's not much space for them. So they have all of their machines and machining tools stuffed in one room, and they have to fit, I think, 16 people in there at a time, and it's just pretty cramped. So space was an issue, and what we came up with was there is a wall separating 2 rooms adjacent to each other, probably taking down that wall and adding a divider that can be folded back for just a more versatile workspace. Because we have another room exactly like that. It's the same setup, it just has the divider, but we use it for the bigger nursing classes. I think that would work well. Dr. Patterson, I think he was on board with that too. For as far as nursing goes, I had an issue, and a lot of the students did too. When we come into the program, most of us are transfers. We don't do our 4 here. We do a Kilgore or something else. I came from the turnout. But they really push the nursing book package on us. They say it's a requirement to get it, which that's not true. I got all of my books used online, and from my understanding, it doesn't provide all the hard copy books, and it's about probably $500 more than what you pay buying the books yourself. So just, I don't know, I felt like that was kind of disingenuous, but I had to really search for the ISBN numbers to get my books my first semester here. So making that more accessible, I had an idea that maybe we could add some more fields to the class evaluations after, at the end of the semester, and add what textbook they used. Maybe put if it was required, like if they actually used it, just a kind of a textbook review for the class, and it could be searchable by students to find their textbooks more easily, or they could yeah, just something along those lines. Also, this wasn't a complaint or comment or anything. It was just an idea that I had, because we have a scholarship specific to the Longview campus, and it's the Peggy and Neil and Garland scholarship. And the winners have their headshot blown up to a poster size and placed on the campus, like in the building. And I thought it would be a good idea to maybe do something like that for the Student Government Association here, put each of the headshots into their respective college buildings, and maybe get more exposure, add a little prestige to student government, and have contact information.
Okay, interesting. Vice President Tubman?
I mean, we already paid, or we got the pictures for free, didn't we, Josh? We didn't end up having to pay for those.
That's correct.
Yeah, so, yeah, we already have headshots, so like I don't see it, other than the cost of the printing, that wouldn't be a bad, and we have money in marketing. So the only spot that I know, or the only thing that I would know there is just finding the space to hang it up, or we could even put them on the TVs. That would be a pretty cool idea. Huh?
What about like the websites?
We'll go on the website. Josh has already been working on that today along with Devin. So it's been we're just making sure that everybody's picture goes to the right name, and then putting it on the website, publishing it all. So it's a work in progress.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Senator Ross?
Speak on that, and then next semester would be a rebranding effort going towards the University Center, which I'll be around with as well. Maybe not poster size, but I'm sure that somewhere in the University Center there will be a spot to where you can maybe, like I said, not poster size of each person, but like such as sorority and fraternity, do a composite, maybe a composite picture or something to that effect.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. Thank you. Any other concerns?
No.
No? All right, thank you.
Before we move on, because that was a lot. Bria and Nick, going back to the parking, I think revisit with Dr. Patterson and Michael and see if that is an issue on this time. See what their thoughts are, and then the next step would be to schedule a meeting with both Dr. Patterson, one in Longview and one here, and to see if it's something that the Longview parking has to be adjusted. The other, I think the marketing thing is a good idea. I think tearing down a wall is gonna be a little bit more difficult, more of a challenge, but it's a good conversation to have with them. I can see if there is anything that could be done as far as this space. I thought there was one more issue.
The books.
The books. And evaluation. For the evaluation, I think the head registrar, might be a good question for the head registrar here, and to see if that can be added on to the evaluation. And the books, I think we will need to figure out, talking to the dean of nursing and see why it is that way. And see if we can get that. So provide that information so that way y'all know what steps y'all need to take to happen.
Thank you. All right, next committee reports, your life.
We met last Friday. We just went to help to set up the SGA table for the community.
Okay, was that it? Yes. Thank you. Communications committee?
We did not meet this week, but I am getting in touch with someone working on design this week, so hopefully we'll have a design ready next week.
What design is this?
For the brochure.
Okay. SGAC?
Today we voted over Turning Point, and we voted that we voted to decide that they can push their event back to a later date, and that we did not meet with anyone else.
Thank you. Yeah, Treasurer Mark?
It was more like a unanimous decision, just to elaborate more off of what Senator Kelly said. Turning Point had already submitted an application or a request to us, and we didn't feel like it was necessary to review it again just because they had changed the date.
Rules Committee? Senator Bell? Rules Committee?
Yes, sorry. We discussed several things that they learned at the conference that they went to over the weekend. We've been through Articles 1 and 2, and we've got a message advice.
Okay, thank you. Student Affairs?
We met on Tuesday. We discussed basically like a proposal type of priority list that we feel that is a priority. Spirit is on the top 5 of proposals that I'd like to work on, and we will get cracking on that next week.
Thank you. And then residential life.
I was sick on Monday, so we did not meet.
Okay. Any old business? Okay. Any new business? Senator Rogers?
Motion to discuss veterans priority registration.
Second. All those in favor of, all those in favor of voting, all in favor of discussing veterans priority registration, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay, discussion is now on the floor. Parliamentarian Sealy.
So I was approached because I do have a lot of classes with veterans, which I wasn't aware that a lot of my friends are veterans, but you should ask your friends. You'd be surprised how many there are. That they do not receive priority registration because on the first day of registration, seniors, NCAA athletes, GATE, and honors students are allowed to register on the first day. And I feel that veterans are a worthwhile group to add to this list. The idea is that you get priority registration as a perk for doing something for the school, whereas our veterans, they do contribute a substantial number to our campus population. I spoke to the head of the Veterans Resource Center. He said their numbers are around 800 to 1,000 registered veterans that are also students. And I think that they deserve this perk. Not only are they doing good things for the school, but they did great things for our country. And I'm interested to hear y'all's opinions and hopefully garner your support for moving forward with this initiative.
Senator Rivera?
I think that is an incredible idea. You have my full support on that. And thank you for your service. That's all I have to say.
Senator Mosley?
I totally agree, and thank you for your service. And I think they should be added. Surprise there. Not already.
Senator Rivera?
Motion to vote on priority registration. Can we vote on this yet?
No, there's no.
Close discussion first.
Yes. Motion.
Nobody made a motion.
Okay, good. No second. There is no motion. Okay.
Is there any discussion? Okay, so, Parliamentarian Sealy.
Currently, I'm in contact with administration on if there's paperwork that needs to be filed and what channels need to be gone through. I wanted to open this up before I continued with this to see if there was any great opposition from the Senate, because I am doing this in the name of SGA. I'm just sort of leading it. So if anyone else wants to get involved and work with me on this, I would really appreciate all your participation. But there's nothing really to vote on today until I get more information on the proper channels of how to accomplish this.
Senator Rogers?
First of all, thank you everyone for your support. I appreciate that. Second, motion to table this discussion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of tabling this discussion to the veteran priority registration to next week, say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose? Any abstentions? Okay, this is now tabled for next week. Any other new business? Senator Ross.
Yeah, on Thursday, come out to Chili's.
Okay, that is an announcement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when we get to that, you can do that. Is there any other new business? Okay, advisor comments. Joshua Neves.
Bear with me. Going back to Paul Ross's comments under student life, or student life at large, this is something that we do hear a lot about more school spirit, involvement, providing more services to students. Problem is, funding is so tight, it's hard to currently provide what we are. And so, I know that it was on the ballot last spring for student service fee. That is the type of fee that helps provide additional services. Spirit Squad, we already have a Spirit Squad. That is kind of like the dance and cheer team, I believe. But I'm assuming you're talking more of a group that shows up at games and heckles and whatnot. And so that is something that we can't help organize. I think that's something that doesn't really requires a lot of resources, and we can come fit that together through my office. And I'm sure we can ask other offices about athletics would be totally involved, as well as other sports teams. As far as other things, the big feedback, I have been working on orientation, making improvements to that, and then as well as the freshman. So the size of our school, we're one of the very few schools based on our size that we don't have a first year. And so that is another initiative that I'm trying to tackle that comes down to funding. So I'm working with advancement. I try to secure funding for those types of programs and to try to enhance the school spirit, because it does have a very lasting impact on the economy. We want you to have the best experience possible. So I wanted to touch on that because that's the only area we can touch on. I did travel with Savannah and Preston. I didn't on the presentation. I also went to my own 7 tracks. I don't remember all of them on top of my head. I know the first one really stood out to me, and that was 13 things that make a successful student government. And similar to what Savannah's comment, we're doing most of them. And so I walked into the conference thinking that, man, what are we doing wrong? But I walked out of there thinking, wow, we are way ahead of other schools. So I'm really proud of y'all. I'm proud of the work that you're doing. You are actually, all the other schools were shocked on how many senators seats that we have. Other schools have 10 to 15. And some of the schools are larger than us. And so I think you are doing great things just by having a lot of representation and representing the students. Those elections are way ahead as far as voter turnout. The national average, I think, is what they said was under 4%. And so we're right on the recommended, which was 10%. That's 10 to 15. And so you're right on the cushion for your main elections, which is encouraging. I talked to other advisors. The issues that they're facing, are nowhere to what we're facing. So it's good to hear that we don't have the issues that we have. So one school just started happens to be covered, and so they're having to create everything from ground up. And so Yeah, the conference was a good eye opener. We did walk away with some ideas and some tips on how to improve. No one's perfect. We're not going to be perfect, but as long as we continue to strive to represent the students, I think we're doing a good job. And I think that's what's important. So, if you have any more questions on that, or if you want more specifics on some of the sessions, you can feel free to contact any one of us who attended the conference. Someone mentioned the website. I have been sold and chipping away during my free time. I have finished the College of Arts and Sciences, Business and Technology, and Education and Psychology. So if you click on the senator page, you can click on your name, and you should be able to see your picture, your major, and your email, as long as you've given consent to publish your major and your email. I think I did a good job tonight on asking some very tough questions for Sodexo. And so I think I'm going to keep that going and continue to ask those questions. And so it can be done. You've got to keep driving. So don't stop. Continue to ask questions on how to make it better. Not just for food, for Wi-Fi, for the distance campuses, across the board. If you don't ask, or if you don't try to work on it, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. So kudos on that. I think they're doing a great job. Keep up the work too.
Thank you. Announcements? Senator Ross.
Saying on Thursday, over Chili's, and we're doing a give back night for the veterans organization here on campus. 15% of all sales people come in and say that they're with them goes to their organization, so come out and support them.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other announcements? Senator Severin.
Just once again, it's Kayla Gomez. She's actually going to have a memorial service, I think, tonight at 7 p.m. So everyone's more than welcome. I mean, you're more than welcome to that.
Thank you. Senator Rivera.
In honor of Kayla, they're actually having a fundraiser at Cane's tonight. It's all day. 15% of all proceeds go to her family. So we're all good.
Thank you. Any other announcements? No? Can I entertain a motion to adjourn? I need a motion. Senator Rivera.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All of you are adjourning, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Secretary Martin, if you can dispense second roll call, please.
President Serena Boston.
Here.
Vice President Tippleman.
Here.
Treasurer Navarre.
Present.
Parliamentary Seeley.
Here.
Senator Adebayo. Senator Adeshola.
Here.
Senator Allen.
Here.
Senator Balaji. Senator Baker.
Here.
Senator Bell.
Still here.
Senator Thitu. Senator Castellanos.
Here.
Senator Dockering. Senator Dyson.
Here.
Senator Franklin. Senator Guy. Senator Hart. Senator Huck. Senator Duad. Senator Doak. Senator Johnson. Senator Kosich.
Here.
Senator McDaniel. Here. Senator McLeod. Senator Morris.
Here.
Senator Mosley.
Here.
Senator Brady.
Here.
Senator Nagarajan. Here. Senator Novak.
Here.
Senator Fagundes.
Here.
Senator O'Kelly.
Here.
Senator Ramirez.
Here.
Senator Rivera. Here. Senator Rogers.
Here.
Senator Ross.
Here.
Senator Saad. Senator Severin.
Here.
Senator Shaka. Here. Senator Stockton. Senator Tan. Here. Senator Thomas.
Here.
And Senator Zerlo.
Meeting adjourned.
Did Sam talk to you about that, about those power sessions they used to do at USC?
No.
He said that occasionally, like if they had like a lot on their plate, they'd call a special session and call them power sessions, and it would take like 8 hours worth of like SGA meetings.
No.